Well, let me tell you something. Your daughter did an excellent job because you still look good. Yeah, look
Yes.
at you. I love that hairset of yours. I do. It just looks so you. And you done an excellent job as a daughter. You and God.
Nothing
God
but
is
God. Nothing
always
but God.
in the plan, and it's because He looked over you so many years. He watched over you, and it testifies to that right
Right now.
now. Amen. Okay, I want to show you something. This is Claire Scott. This is the grandmother.
Right.
Okay, this is Claire Scott.
My grandmother,
Her grandmother, Susie,
her mother-in-law,
and her mother-in-law, and someone built the house. Go
her
ahead.
husband
Her husband built the house. What
Yes.
house?
He was a
on Du Bois.
Du Bois.
Du Bois, and that's here.
Up
Yes.
here.
Okay,
She was born up here.
you who?
No, she, my
All of her children were
grandmother,
Yes,
my children were born in
yes,
Cleveland.
but your
But
grandmother.
we come up here every year to see her.
Okay,
And we bring the children
okay,
one at a time. Every year, let's see. Well, the first two were right together.
uh huh.
One year. We had 2 years left in that year.
Okay,
What year?
1949. I was born. He's born 1948.
Well, we were left. They were, and
Oh, and that was the
we
other picture I was supposed to be keeping up.
that's all right.
Where we got baptized, where we went to.
yeah, at Methodist
Tabernacle.
Church
Methodist Church, you got baptized.
at Tabernacle.
Okay. When did you go to First Baptist then?
When I moved up here, the
Permanent.
piano player for the church lived next door
Next
in
door,
that
Chris Greer.
house.
Is that
Greer.
Greer?
Greer.
Dorothy Greer.
Really?
His mother.
There you go, Dorothy Greer. Okay, and she was the piano player for First Baptist.
Right.
Okay, and then you was going to that church,
And all of her children went there.
and all of her children went there. First Baptist of Ottawa.
Right.
But she was a member of Tabernacle.
She was a member of Tabernacle, but she went to First Baptist.
When
played.
they didn't have
Okay.
a piano player,
I
they
got you.
lost so many. We have had, oh, I think I've joined under, let me see, we had Brother Lewis, let me see, I can't call him
Okay,
like I
that's
used
okay,
to.
but it was a lot of pastors you're talking about.
Right. Simpson.
Simpson, I remember Simpson.
Simpson, that's what I'm trying to say.
I remember
Simpson.
Simpson. Yes,
Simpson.
yes.
And then behind Reverend Simpson, he left and you came and
Ah,
preached there.
yeah, it was me, Sharp, and also Washington did a little bit of that too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And, but Washington, boy, you know about them.
Yes.
All of the got churches.
Yes.
And, but that was after my husband died.
Okay.
And he died at 80. Oh, I was 80. I was 3 years older, 4 years older than him. He come
Okay.
up there, he didn't get there until late.
Okay.
He stayed at home working.
He was
He
working.
worked for the United States Post
Ooh,
Office.
everybody seemed like a lot of us work for the post office
For
back today.
51 years and 6
He
months.
was
51
50.
years he worked.
And 6 months.
Wow. Was he at the window? Was it clerk or was he a
Timekeeper.
No.
Okay, gotcha. And back then they were called the different ones. They got
Right.
yeah.
He
Huh?
first he was the third floor. Third. I knew it was gonna leave me when I got ready to say it. Third floor, division, something.
Okay,
I
but it
can't
was at the
remember
post
title,
office.
But it was at the post office.
Okay,
And
because
then
I was a royal carrier.
Left-
I worked as a royal carrier in the post
Okay.
office for a year.
He when he passed away, he was the timekeeper.
Okay, and it was a timekeeper spot.
And that tell you a cute story about that one.
Okay.
I worked at the bank at that time.
Okay, all right.
And people would come in to cash their checks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what branch you work at? oh, I work downtown. I said, you know Scotty? I don't know no Scotty. I said, you don't know Scotty? And they look at me right funny. I said, he the timekeeper. Oh, the man with the pens in his pockets. So that's how I had to identify him. He would carry 100 pens in his pockets.
That's it.
He
Always had
pockets
Pocket
open
full.
all the time.
You know, my dad back in the day in Chicago, in his old age, he carried a whole bunch of receipts from the
Okay.
store. He had a pocket full of receipts. Wwhenever the kids would ask him for some money, he'd say, "Look what I spent at the store," and take out all them receipts. So you know, and the kids laughed at that. You know, it was just so funny. But you know, you ladies got so much history and so much, Mother DeScott, and you're still going on.
And so much history to begin with. After raising those children,
Yes.
and I had a stroke. I had yes, I had a stroke after I got married, didn't
Right.
I?
That's the one I
Yes.
was talking about.
Okay,
That's
there
the
you go.
one
There
I
we
was
got it.
ca-
Right
After you got married.
She had the stroke.
Okay, and what was that now? How old were you about when you got married again?
30.
I
30.
said
29. 29 when you got married because you were 30 when you had me.
Okay.
28. You were 28 when you got married. 29 when you had Charles, and 30 when she had me.
Okay. Wow.
and I got married. I had this.
You had the stroke in between
No,
Charles and
I didn't.
I thought that. Oh, just before Charles was
I
born.
was sick, but I didn't have the stroke.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You
All
were
right.
I had the
All
stroke
right.
when I was 9 years. I
12
wasn't
when you had the
thinking
first stroke.
about getting married.
I know that.
I was I was getting them married. I had to see that they all got out of the house and got away from there.
Yeah.
And I worked at City Hospital,
City Hospital.
and it is a big hospital now, but you're bigger than what it was.
Yes.
It was a little brick house, looked like. Wasn't much bigger.
Now they done build on it. Now they all the money
Now
they done
it's,
took for us.
4
Yeah.
or 5 blocks of it.
That is amazing. And you still remember a lot of now.
And he had a, back in those days when things were roaring, when I got married, I made all the dresses,
You made the dresses too.
made the dresses.
I bet you there was something.
We made them all just alike, only a different color.
For each one of them.
Every one was a different color. And we made them from, oh boy.
The material.
Taffeta.
We bought the material at Tabernacle store. No,
May
we bought
At May Company.
At May Company.
Downtown
Yeah.
May Company.
And you bought the material there and you made the dresses.
and we bought material. 12 dresses I made.
You made 12 dresses.
12 dresses.
You must have been a fast person to do all that. Did you?
I did. I worked.
Did you have a sewing machine back then?
Yes.
Old Trevor.
We had an old shuffle.
Oh, what's it called?
Treadle
And you
machine
worked it with your foot
And
too.
with your
Working
foot.
with that foot.
I remember seeing them on TV. That is amazing. Did you have a big wedding?
I had a church wedding.
Okay, you had it in church.
It was wasn't big. It wasn't as big as hers was.
Yeah.
And I was the last one to get married. And well, not the last one, because my brother Carl was in the hospital, and he was in the hospital for 9 years, wasn't he?
Okay.
And when he got out and come home, and he didn't hardly know us. I'd go and see him when I could, and be there and bring him home for a holiday. After you've been there for 5 years, then they start letting me take him home
Okay.
for holidays.
You really took care. You really
And
take care of a person. Yeah.
I stayed there. Everyone was married but him and Oscar. All the girls were married.
So once everybody else was at, you decided to go ahead and get married.
Then I decided to marry. Then I married the fellow from up here.
Okay, he's from up here.
Yes.
Charles.
He wouldn't come to Cleveland. His aunt lived in Cleveland.
Uh-huh.
And my mother-in-law and her were the only two girls in the family, with 14 of them, 12 boys and 2 girls.
Hallelujah.
And
Let me say this now.
and
Now,
they
go ahead.
let me go ahead.
No, I was going to ask now. So right now, this is the family. This right here is the family house, or would you say the family house?
Yes, it's my
From Michigan.
the house.
And you're going to keep this
Oh, yes.
right on the lake.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, yes.
and I know before you were talking about remodeling it, putting some floor, and that is so good. So because I've heard that most folks, most black folks, are trying to keep the property because some have given it away.
Yes.
But it's a historic thing to keep property. I would like to get some property on a lake, and maybe one day I will buy a house. But as you can see, yes. So people are trying to keep it because this is like a symbol up here when you look at it, history
Yes.
in Ottawa, and they're trying to bring it back right now.
Now I own the house.
2 houses.
The other
You
side,
also own 2 houses over here. Really?
one house over there.
Okay.
And this one here.
And this one here is in the
And
family.
all the
name.
rest of them I have given away.
That is, and you had more.
Yes.
That is amazing. So I'm just curious. How did you acquire all this property at the time?
And the family would come up.
First house. First, they were all on Du Bois.
Okay.
And we were leaving. And we seen the for sale sign on the house.
Okay.
We called and I told Mama, I says, we gonna buy that house.
You was in the mix. You was in the mix.
Mama and Daddy went and bought the house.
They went and bought
Left
it.
me out.
What? And that's right on the lake here.
Right.
Wow.
On the other side was the Greer's, Elliott, and then the house is DeScott's.
Okay. That's amazing.
And that's another thing that we need
Go
to
ahead.
put in the history.
I want to hear that.
About this D. Scott for the name.
Okay. Yes.
He was born Charles Edward Scott.
Okay.
When he came to Cleveland, we don't know why, he put D.E. on there.
Hmm.
And we were D. Scotts. And that's the way we were born and raised.
Okay.
When we came up here, we was trying to figure out why is everybody's name Scott, and he wanted to be different.
He changed it himself.
He changed it himself.
He got mad with his father.
Oh, she's gonna tell something. Go ahead. I want to hear that. He got mad with his father and he changed it.
And he changed his name, changed everything.
Changed it.
He did not go. His father came to Cleveland and died in Cleveland at my house. And my husband moved out
Uh-huh.
and stayed away until while he was living,
Because
the
he was
whole
mad.
time, and he stayed there. And until he died.
Yes.
He died in Cleveland at my house.
Mm-hmm.
I come home from work that day, and I said, "Where's Grandpa?" They said, "He won't let us in the room."